If you've been following my journey, you'll know that I purchased a metal building and been turning it into a retail space and production shop. I'm calling it the Woodshed. This is the footage from the side that I intend to be the retail space. I've already done a ton of work to empty it out and demo some walls, but now even more changes need to be made to make it a more functional space. I want to insulate it, I want to sheathe the walls in wood, I want to take out one giant bay door and also relocate the front door. All of that is a massive amount of work, but can very easily be achieved. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and start with framing walls. This was a lot of wall space to frame, but the only way to get it done is to start. And the great thing about framing is it's the same process regardless if you're doing a small 60 square foot space or a 2,000 square foot space. So it's a skill that once you learn can be implemented time and time again. The reason for going through the effort of framing the entire inside is because the metal space, for one, doesn't give the space the look I want for the retail space, but also the huge wall space is completely unusable as is. Even if this was left as a shop space, I couldn't just walk up to the wall and drive in a screw, then hang up, let's say, an extension cord. To get that ability, the walls need to be sheathed, which means each bay first needs to have the substructure to support the sheathing. The original plan was to use insulated bats for the insulation step, so we originally laid down a plastic wrap on what will be the inside of the wall. However, you'll see that later we removed this plastic because I changed my mind and went with spray foam insulation instead. But if you need a moisture barrier, then let's just lay down a sheet of plastic and use a staple gun to attach it. We would do this with the wall still on the ground and then stand it up one by one. To keep them standing up, we would use a nailer to pin it to the adjoining wall, then also pin it to the concrete through the base plate. After repeating this for the entire length of wall, we repeat it on the next one, and then the next one. You'll notice that the walls don't extend all the way up right now. What we did was use 12-foot studs to get the bottom layer of wall up. Then later we'll come back and add a pony wall to get the remaining footage to go the entire height. Once the walls were stood up and attached, the last thing was to connect them all together up on top with a double top plate. We had started off with the easiest walls first, but once we started working around the room, we divided up to conquer. I continued framing walls while David started removing old framing that would be in our way, while Jacob started getting clever with chain hoists to remove the few roll-up bay doors we would be deleting. This door here is an old loading dock that I actually turned into the giant sign of the Woodshed. There's a link of that video in the description for you. Then the second bay door was just redundant. I'll leave the right one for loading and unloading, but since this will be a retail space, two just wasn't needed. To delete a giant space like this, we first framed it up so that the wall would fit snugly in between the door opening. It can be attached with some self-tapping screws all along the sides and top to go into the metal framing members. Blocking could be added in next. Then we could move to the outside to start covering it up and blend it into the building. To do that, we first removed the metal trim around the doorway, then started installing the same metal panels to match the rest of the building. You can just overlap each sheet by one corrugation, and soon enough, it looks just like there was never a door there. Oh, and don't worry about the color because at the end, the entire building will get a coat of paint. Last thing to really make sure the door is gone is to remove the roll-up door on the inside. It is incredible how heavy this is, but no worries. Jacob made some custom boxes to hold two chain hoists up in the ceiling so that two people could lower the entire roll-up door at the same time. David's there monitoring our progress to make sure we were going down at an even pace. Another thing I wanted to change and delete was the placement of the front door. On the previous space, it was located on the side of the building that was actually around the corner from the parking area. Jacob deleted this space pretty quickly while I worked on throwing up more walls. After the door was out, we sheathed the outside to blend the space in as well, and then finished installing all of the needed inside walls. The previous owners had this bump out that was used as an office space with a mini split in it. And I decided to keep it, but turn it into the shipping department where my mom could work out of, instead of my dad's garage where she has been working up to this point. Since the ceiling in it is lower than the perimeter walls, we built some pony walls to first extend the height. While Jacob finished attaching things, David built up the corner so that it would be on the same plane as the two walls, and I started pulling off trim from around the window. Justin, the videographer, practiced his kickflips. You're almost there, buddy. Just keep at it. Whew. What a lot of work. It took us 2 days to get to this point, and while it does look good, we still had a ton to go. I told you earlier that I changed my mind on the type of insulation I went with. I decided to go with spray foam because of a few factors, but mostly because it's incredibly quick and efficient. A crew came in the day after we got done framing and started laying down plastic to protect the floors. Then they immediately started in on putting material in the walls and ceiling. I've done spray foam before in my own shop, so I'm already aware of how awesome it is, but it's still fascinating to see it get sprayed in and balloon up. Then also how much ground the crew is able to cover in just a few hours. After they were done, we moved back in place to continue working. To bring me some comfort in this big space, I am so excited to partner with Mr. Cool. I installed 2 third-generation Mr. Cool DIY ductless heat pump mini-split systems. One of my favorite things about the system is that installation is so easy with the Quick Connect line set, which is Mr. Cool's cutting-edge technology. The line set allows for vacuumless installation and is pre-charged with an eco-friendly refrigerant that is chlorine-free alternative to old refrigerants. I've been keeping mine on auto, which automatically heats, cools, or runs the fan based on a temperature I set and the current temperature of the space. There's also a drying option to maintain humidity. Perfect for my world. There's also a sleep mode and even an auto reset feature if you experience a power outage, all while being super quiet. The indoor air handler is so easy to maintain and keep in optimal condition. It can alert you if the system is leaking refrigerant or when it needs a filter cleaning or replacement, which is so helpful. You can save so much money on maintenance calls by taking care of the simple routine task on your own. If you're interested in a very reliable and effective system that can be installed and maintained yourself, check out more on Mr. Cool with the link below. Big thank you to Mr. Cool for keeping my shop so comfortable in this Texas heat. Since I'd already bought the insulated bats, I went ahead and put in another layer of insulation in both walls where the most noise would be coming through. This partition wall, which will separate the shop from the retail space, then also the other gable end, which separates the major road from the retail space. You're okay, bud. I'm not sure how much this will help, but it certainly can't hurt. And it also gave me something to stay busy with while Jacob got ahead on the next step, which was painting the panels for wall sheathing. We left the plastic on the floor from the spray foam job, and Jacob set up a spray area to start giving all the sheathing a coat of paint. For this, I really love the look of shiplap, but it's not only expensive, but it's also slow to install as you have to do it one board length at a time. To make our job go quicker, we've created faux shiplap by laying down 1/2-inch plywood on the CNC and having it cut in the grooves for us. Easy peasy. This will give the entire space the look of shiplap, but drastically save on cost and time on install because we'll be able to throw up huge sections at a time. To start installing it, we used a laser level in the center of the room to establish a level line around the space, then started sticking them. We made sure to make the boards land on the center of a stud, and then most of these lower walls had at least an outlet or two that needed to be cut around. Overall though, the step goes very quickly. One thing that helps with speeding it up is to only tack the boards into place. I would use a pre-drill on the 4 corners, then another drill to drive in the screws. Later, once everything is installed, we'll go back and do the attaching in the center of the board. Instead of waiting until every board was painted to start installing, we ended up changing our game plan. The thing that we really wanted to avoid is painting the upper walls on scaffolding and ladders later on, because that's just not any fun. But painting the lower walls isn't a big deal. With that, we used the unpainted panels for the first 2 layers around the walls, then switched over to the painted panels once we got up to the upper walls. It created a kind of quilt work looking pattern, but pay no attention to it because it all comes together looking uniformed in the end. To try and hide the screws as much as possible, we would place them in the grooves of the faux shiplap instead of on the face. Then we would also make sure to stagger the seams of the panels. If I'm not mistaken, it only took us a day to get this main paneling up, so it really does go quick once you get into a groove. Also, what a drastic change it makes to the entire space. But again, more to go. The next day, Terry and I started working on sheathing the shipping department while Jacob started doing the pony wall framing for the gable ends. This entailed him cutting a bunch of short studs to length, then installing them and the top cap. This will give us the bones needed to run sheathing all the way up on both of these gable ends. Working with these heights, it is far easier if you have somebody staying on the scaffolding than another person doing the groundwork or cut work and passing up what's needed. And it is so cool throwing these pieces in. It all just works like a puzzle. You not only have the slope to cut and get correct, but also making sure the groove pattern stays the same is kind of tricky, especially once you get to the end and start trying to utilize large cutoff pieces. It was very exciting getting to the end. I was actually happy to call it a day right there, but Jacob was motivated to stay a bit longer than normal in order to see the space painted as one color. So that's what we did. I worked ahead of him and taped off doors and windows and made sure he had plastic down on the next area he would be moving to, and he painted. Looking back on it, I think using the painted panels at the top was kind of a pain, but I still think it was easier than somebody having to paint it from a ladder. What a change. You guys, this was a ton of work. It is exhausting, but so exhilarating. 100% changing a space like this in just a span of a few days is crazy to me. Adding walls, deleting doorways, and creating an atmosphere that is a complete 180 from what it was before. It's just an amazing feeling. You know, another thing, I love that I film my projects because it's so easy a few weeks or even months later to get used to the way it looks and forget the details on how it got to look that way. I love being able to look back at the process and get a sense of pride all over again. Stay tuned for the next steps to take this space even a bit further. I have an idea for the wall decor that I am dying to execute and show you. That will be coming up shortly. Thank you all for the support, and if you're ever in the hill country of Texas, be sure to stop in and see the space for yourself. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and watching all of the progress that I've been making on this. If you're ever in the Central Texas area, then I would love for you to stop in and see it for yourself. Or in the meantime, if you want to check out some of the products I'm going to be selling at the Woodshed, I'll leave you a link right here.